Hello, I'm Mary Brett, the resident doer of things. Thank you for being here. At the Doers of Things podcast, we intend to share conversations with you that demystify the creative process and humanize the journey, which are just fancy ways of saying we hope you get inspired to go out and do the things that bring you joy after hearing a fellow human share how and why they do what they do. We are all innate creators, curating our reality with every thought, word, and action. My guests all have different stories, backgrounds, and passions, but the one thing they hold in common is that they do the things that nurture the reality they want to live. They all just started somewhere and kept doing. Today, we are going to share a conversation had with five-time Grammy winner, bass player extraordinaire, Victor Wooten. But first, I want to let you know that this is a value for value, pay what you wish, give what you can, free will investment model listening experience. That means you get to choose what you contribute in time, talent, or treasure to reflect the amount of value you get from listening to the Doers of Things. No donation is too small, and all donations help produce the show. Head over to thedoersofthings.com to learn more in the Contribute tab. Now let's get to today's conversation with Victor Wooten. Such an acclaimed musician and human doesn't really need an introduction, but in case you aren't familiar, Victor Wooten is a world-renowned bass player who got his start playing bass as soon as he could hold his head up, joining his brothers playing and touring the world. Wooten is the author of The Music Lesson, A Spiritual Search for Growth Through Music, and The Spirit of Music, The Lesson Continues. He runs a music camp outside Nashville, Tennessee, and that is where we had this conversation on January 1 of 2023, right after the first of the year traditional polar plunge he does with a small group of folks on the Duck River. I was honored to take the plunge into the cold water and into a conversation one-on-one with Victor Wooten. Here it is.
There's not enough people who understand the mark that they can make on another person's life, even without doing something that society says is remarkable. You know, like you don't have to be what society claims is a remarkable person, a famous musician or actor or whatever. Right. You just have to be authentically you, and you can change someone's life. Yeah. And that person touches so many other people's life. It's a ripple effect, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's really inspiring and just beautiful to see somebody like you who uses your platform in such a beautiful, authentic, genuine way to help the collective just be better people.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like your mom influenced you a lot, but did y'all grow up in a faith-based home? Or was this something, a journey that you slowly found yourself on, communing with like a higher power?
It definitely came from our parents.
Yeah.
Definitely. Both my parents were from a primitive, their religion was primitive Baptist, whatever that means.
Okay.
You know? But they never forced any of that on us. You know, my mom would talk, I guess by all means, most people would call my mom religious.
Uh-huh.
But I wouldn't. Even though she was, it was more about life.
She's spiritual.
Spiritual, I guess, would be the newer term on
Yeah.
it. But she based it off of scriptures. She would quote scriptures. But she didn't care what you believed.
Yeah.
It was about who you were as a person. Her thing was that if we can cultivate good people, didn't matter what we do.
Yeah.
If we're going to do it from a good person standpoint.
Yeah.
Our thing just happened to be music. It could have been sports,
Yeah.
right? But my mom would talk about the Bible a lot, but we moved around a lot. It never forced us to go to church. They didn't even go to their churches when we moved around. They would only go to church when they went back home, where they felt it was more of them.
Uh-huh.
And I would say more real.
Yeah.
They could see things change. In their church, Primitive Baptist in North Carolina, in the hills of North Carolina, no instruments allowed.
Oh, yeah.
No instruments,
Wow,
but they
okay.
never stopped us from playing.
Yeah.
We just couldn't play in the church,
Yeah.
right? Because I believe, I never heard it explained, but I believe they understood what starts to happen to us when we start playing an instrument, right? When you sing, you're not focused on your mouth. You don't say, I sing mouth.
Yeah.
You know, the same way I say, I play bass, I should be playing music,
Yeah.
right? So an instrument can pull you away from the source. So they never had allowed any instruments.
Okay.
Right? You go to church these days, it's all about the instruments. They're overplaying and all.
Yeah.
No, not with them. It was about who you are and feeling the spirit. My granddad couldn't read or write unless he was holding a Bible. He could read the Bible.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
This was real stuff
Yeah.
that, you know, I don't even talk about to a lot of people because you think it's fiction. But I tell you stories about my parents. You know, it could be a movie. It plays and sounds like fiction. But anywhere us 5 boys, I'm the youngest of 5 boys, anywhere we were, if we got into any kind of trouble, didn't matter where mom was, she knew.
Yeah.
Right? Phone would ring. What's happening?
She's connected.
Totally.
Yeah, tuned in, tapped in, turned on.
Dad fought in the Korean War, watching his friends die, but he would hear a voice help keep him alive and things like that. You know, so when we were young and Dad found out that my 3 older brothers liked music, he made sure we were able to keep it. He didn't want us to have to go through what he went through.
Yeah.
Fighting for a country that wouldn't fight for him.
Right.
Go to the war, come home, can't drink out the water fountain.
Right.
He didn't want that for us. He never even let us mow the lawn because we might get hurt. He never parked a car in the garage. The garage was ours to play music.
Aww.
You know, they weren't forcing religion down our throat.
Yeah.
But they were teaching us how to be.
Yeah.
And religion was a part of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the way I do it at the camp. I want people to fall back in love with themselves.
How have you fallen in love with yourself? What is that human journey that you found yourself on?
Well, it started very young.
Yeah.
It started very, very young. My mom and dad was more quiet, so I talk more about my mom. But they were both powerful. Dad was just powerful in a more silent way. But mom would make us remember things. My next book that I'm writing are quotes, things that I heard my parents say over and over.
That's beautiful.
Just over and over, different things she would say. You know, like when I wake up and look in the mirror every morning, I've already met the most important person I'm going to meet today. Right? It was about knowing who you are. Our parents knew that if we didn't know who we are, the world might try to tell us.
Yeah.
Right? And they're probably not going to tell us the truth.
Right.
Right? So
Yeah.
you got to know who you are, regardless of what someone says. And I learned this young. And because when I was learning being the youngest, I had 4 extra parents, my brothers.
Right.
So now they're telling me this stuff. Not so much telling me this stuff, they're living this stuff. I can remember when I told my mom, I ain't no Santa Claus, you know, and mom was like, well, good. I'm glad you know. I ain't got to hide and sneak around anymore. Good. And later on, Reggie said, Victor, I can't believe you said that to mom. He said, I've always known. I never say nothing. I felt so bad. Because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm old now.
Yeah.
Reggie said, I never said nothing. So my brothers were like 4 extra parents keeping me in line. But I'm learning this stuff very young.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I got it all together. Life is a journey.
But you're definitely grounded and rooted in a place of authenticity that the world lacks. You've figured some things out.
Well, I was, in a sense, forced to. But you know,
were
the same way
raised
you,
to.
yeah, that's
You
better
were raised to. You were cultivated to.
The same way you speak English.
The queen bee is only the queen because she's raised to be the queen. There's nothing inside that queen bee that is different than any of the other female bees. It's only because she was cultivated to be the queen.
Yeah.
She was taught and told and reared to be, you know, and
Yeah.
you came into a family that did that for you. You
Absolutely.
know, everybody having their skill set, you know, and wanting you to be a part of it to complete the cycle. They needed bass, they needed rhythm. That's the heartbeat of the universe.
I was very, very lucky for me, like having 6 parents that I live with all the time. My parents mostly my mom would make my 3 older brothers enter into speaking competitions.
Okay.
They'd have to either write or learn very uplifting speeches, rehearse them. So saying things over and over that are really filling your insides.
Mantra.
And then go in front of people and speak them.
Yeah.
Now, Roy was really good. He would always get maybe 2nd or 3rd place. He was never allowed to win.
Okay.
And I'll put it that way. But he was always the best at it. But me and Joe were younger. And like, why, Mom, why are you making him do that? You know, I get it.
Yeah.
1,000% now, right? I mean, we grew up in the hood. You can't exist through life just speaking the way you speak in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, we had our first black president from Chicago. Imagine if he gets in front of people speaking the way he spoke to his boys on the basketball court.
Right.
So they were putting things in us that we didn't even know. We all had to learn to type. We could not get bad grades. You get a C, we got to have a talk.
Yeah.
A's and B's.
Yeah.
You know, that's hard on a kid, but now it makes life so much easier for us.
Learning discipline, we need structure, we need limits. We're here because of limits, you know. I believe we come from like a limitless place, and we come down in this physical form to learn limitation. Acceptance is the biggest lesson here, I think. What is in your power and what's not, and wisdom to know the difference and to apply that. And it's like you said, it's a choice. You know, we chose to get in that water.
Yeah.
You know, joy is a choice. Peace is a choice that you make by focusing that attention with an intention another way.
Right. And like practicing an instrument, the more you make that choice, the more you'll make the good choices unconsciously.
It becomes just second nature, who you are. So I know you've got something to do. I just want to end on, what are some of the non-negotiable choices that you make every day to help set you up for success and keep this grounded nature that you have? I know you're a proponent of making your bed, which I did today just for you, just for this. I was like, you know what? Okay, let's try. It wasn't a beautiful make. I'm a bad soldier. Like, I would get demerits, but we made the bed. So what else do you do?
There are a lot, and they're all negotiable.
Okay.
But I want to bring my best self to every step I take. I heard Tom Brown talk about the nature teacher. He said it once, at one class, he said, bless the earth with each step. So I also had another teacher of mine say, every few moments of the day, stop and just ask myself, what am I missing? Because we're living in the future or the past, and it's happening now, right here.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't know what's really going on right here. And this is where the joy is.
Yeah.
And that's what that cold water brought us right here. Yeah. And even though it was cold, it didn't.
I had to smile the whole time.
You know, exactly. Exactly. And then we did it together, which even makes
that made it
better.
easier.
It would have been different by myself.
Oh, I don't know that I would have gotten all the way in, but I saw the other girls dunk in, and I was like, you know what? Yes.
Exactly.
We had the intention to.
Yeah.
Let's follow through with that, and having the other people around, the other witnesses, the other motivators, the other mirrors.
Yeah.
You can, if you spot it, you got it. So it's like, well, she has this, I got that strength too. I can do that too, you know?
And we want to be able to do that in as positive a way as possible.
Yeah.
Because, you know, another quote from my mom, she said, we have enough people leading the road down. We need more people leading the way up. You know, because the kids or the adults that act bad, that's contagious too.
Right.
Gives me permission to be bad.
Right.
And we all have that tendency. Life is yin yang.
Yeah.
To have choice, which we have. To have choice, you have to have something to choose from.
Yeah.
Which means whatever you choose, the opposite has to exist.
Right.
And I want to understand that.
Yeah.
One of the things I do understand is that when I make a choice, the opposite will more than likely show up. In other words, if I say I'm going to fast today, somebody, my sister-in-law, someone's going to call letting me know they just made my favorite food today. Do I want to come have some?
Yeah.
That makes me say, okay, am I going to really honor the decision I made, or am I going to cave?
Right.
So that's why they say when it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of the times we make a decision, I'm going to be good. I'm going to do this. And then the opposite shows up to give you the opportunity to keep making that choice, but we can't.
It's all offerings. Everything's an offering of what are you going to manifest right now. You're a portal for love or fear. Everything's just a different shade of either one. Right. So in thought, word, deed, what are you going to choose in your free will to manifest here right now on the physical? Are you going to let fear win and go live in the past or the future, you know? Or are you going to let love win and be right here in the now, finding the lesson and the blessing in that moment?
And I would go with this is finding the love in fear.
Yeah.
Because fear, there's a guy named Gavin DeBecker who wrote a book called The Gift of Fear. Fear is a gift. And a lot of people say be fearless, which is you don't want to be.
I don't think that's possible. I think that would be boring too if you never had a catalyst of that.
It would be, but I equate fear to that yellow light in your car that comes on and says you're running out of gas.
Yeah.
It doesn't come on after you've run out of gas.
Yeah.
It's a warning.
Yeah.
Fear, as Gavin DeBecker says, fear is proof that what you fear hasn't happened yet.
Ooh, I like that. I've also heard fear is false evidence appearing real.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
I heard that too. But in many cases, I wouldn't say it's false. No more than the joy is false.
Yeah.
Right? It can be real. There's a guy with a gun around the corner. People
That's
are
a real
running.
danger.
That's a real danger.
Yeah.
But if you're fearful of it, what you're fearful of hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Fear lets you know you have time.
Oh, I love that.
Maybe not a, it,
Not
doesn't
a
tell,
lot.
it doesn't tell you how much time.
Right.
But it gives you a chance to act. In the same way that light says you're about to run out of gas.
Yeah.
It doesn't come on after.
Yeah.
Fear also another related thing to that. So that's my, I have to remind myself of that, because we can't go through life without being fearful.
Yeah.
It's a God-given gift.
Yeah.
So why would you want to get rid of any of it?
Yeah.
Right? It makes us stronger when we learn how to deal with it.
Right.
We don't want to be paralyzed
Right.
by the fear, but we want to be totally aware of what it's telling us.
Yeah.
I'm about to run out of gas.
Yeah.
There's somebody around the corner. There's a whole lot of brake lights,
Yeah.
whatever. But another thing that I try to do every day is that when bad things go wrong, to allow it to point to something good. Because here's the thing, nobody talks about the time we drove through the Arizona desert and didn't run out of gas. Our
Right.
air conditioner worked. We
Right.
got there on time.
Boring
We didn't
story.
get a flat tire. We talk about the time we almost died.
Right.
We got 2 flat tires, only 1 spare,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. That's what really fuels the excitement
Right.
of life. And why is because it's not normal.
Okay.
The bad things that jump out in life are not normal,
Okay.
but we treat them as that's all that's happening.
Yeah.
If I pull into a town and 5 people cut me off on the road, I curse the whole town. No one can drive. Those 5 stood out because the thousands of others did it right.
Yeah.
So I've been training myself to allow the bad things, not to ignore them,
Right.
but to point to the fact that life is good.
Yeah.
And that's why this is so visible, is because it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
Yeah. It's
so
definitely
easy
a
to
balancing
get
act.
overcome.
Yeah.
by it,
Yeah. Well, you definitely
walk back
do a
this
lot
way
of
as we're
work
going.
for keeping yourself calm, and you're definitely somebody that is helping us go up. You know, you're.
I want to
clear,
be.
It's and you are. I don't even. You know, I hope that you don't really have any question about that, and I hope that you're, proud of yourself.
I
you know,
am.
and like obviously you're proud of yourself for being a great bass player. That's at this point not in question to you. You know you're good, and you're so good that you know that you can hang back and let other people shine. But as a human being, the human stuff, the meat suit stuff, like it's very clear that you are a genuine person that has an amazing heart just by seeing this event here, like this color plunge and everyone having the way everyone responds to you and having the kind words behind your back to say about you, and then meeting you at UtopiaFest was just automatically felt how down to earth you are. And it doesn't matter if you're a big time musician or somebody with $1 million or whatever, like being with somebody that's grounded at heart.
Well, I appreciate that, but goes along with that saying, take one, no one. Telling you.
Well, it's like you feel safe. You feel safe with people that have done the work to be present in themselves. And so I feel safe around you because it's obvious that you've done the work to be present in yourself and to have clear intention about what you want your legacy to be in this life. And I come from the alma mater of my university is a measure of a life is its service. It's obvious that you're living your life in service to love in the bigger picture and the connection. And I mean, that's just amazing. And your mom's right. Like, we need more people like that.
I could have talked to Victor Wooten for hours, but I would have settled for 5 minutes. Everything he was saying resonated with me so much that I might have talked a little too much. This is when I was still learning how to interview, an ever-evolving muscle. And while I couldn't quite contain my excitement to share how I saw the world similar to him, I was grateful for all the inspirational and intimate things he was sharing about his family. After this interview, I knew I had to make the Doers of Things happen. Even if I didn't know how or when I was going to make it happen, I just knew it needed to be done. So here we are, the end of the first show and the beginning of the Doers of Things, a podcast that hopefully inspires the collective to fall in love with ourselves and give us the permission we need to do the things that make us who we are. I want to thank you for being here and for listening to the first episode of the Doers of Things via this conversation with Victor Wooten. I just want to remind you of the value for value model this listening experience runs on. My current pledge to you is to never have sponsorship ads or corporate commercials. I also have no plans on creating tiered content or a subscription fee that prices people out of the experience of hearing their fellow humans share their stories. All content is for all people, all the time. I can do that with your help as a producer of the show via your time, talent, and treasure. So if you enjoy the show, please consider becoming a producer to whatever level you can. Head on over to thedoersofthings.com in the Contribute tab to learn more about how you can jump on board. Until next time you tune in to the Doers of Things, I'm Mary Brett saying, be someone who leads us the way up.